Hello again, Internet, and welcome to episode 2 of the Otaku's 2 Cents podcast. You've got Cole.
You've got Zach.
And you got Trey.
And we are here to give you guys our 2 cents on anime. We are comfy, we're in our jammies, we've got our signature L8s, and we are ready to get this podcast started. Alright, so this is going to be our first official anime review episode. If you haven't heard our last episode, it was just a real quick introduction to the three of us. It's not extremely long, it's only about 20 minutes, but we just wanted to give you guys a real quick background of who we were, how long we've been watching anime, a few of our favorite anime, things like that. So if you want to get to know us just a little bit better, we highly recommend going back and checking out episode number 1. However, today, in episode number 2, we are breaking ground, and we're going to start with our first review, which is of Sword Art Online. So, I want to break down the episode for everybody listening out there real quick, just so you kind of know what to expect. I'm sure plenty of people listening have probably already watched Sword Art Online. It's pretty mainstream. It's been out for a while now. Some people really like it, some people don't, but a lot of people have seen it. So, but there's probably a few that haven't. So what we're going to do is our episode is going to be broken into 2 sections. We're going to do our review of the anime, which we are going to try and keep as spoiler-free as possible, and then we are going to give the show a grade. Once all that is done, we are going to go into a deeper discussion, and during that discussion is where all the spoilers and everything are going to be. So if you have already seen the show and you just want to hear more of our thoughts about it, stick around for the discussion. And if you haven't seen the show and you just want to get an idea of whether you want to watch it or not, just listen to the review and then hop off and maybe come listen to us again later. Or if you just don't give a crap about spoilers, stick around and listen to all the awesome things we have to say. So that's how the episode's going to be laid out. Zach, Trey, anything else you need to add to that?
Nope.
No, we're good to go. All right. So we're just going to start off real quick with the synopsis in case anyone hasn't seen the show. It's going to give them just a real quick idea of kind of what the show's about. So in the year 2022, virtual reality has progressed by leaps and bounds, and a massive online role-playing game called Sword Art Online, otherwise known as SAO, is launched. With the aid of nerve gear technology, players can control their avatars with the game using nothing but their own thoughts. Kazuto Kiriyaga, nicknamed Kirito, is among the lucky few enthusiasts who get their hands on the first shipment of the game. He logs in to find himself with 10,000 others in the scenic and elaborate world of Aincrad, one full of fantastic medieval weapons and gruesome monsters. However, in a cruel turn of events, the players soon realize they cannot log out of the game because the game's creator has trapped them in his new world until they complete all 100 levels of the game. In order to escape Aincrad, Kirito will now have to interact and cooperate with his fellow players. Some are allies, while others are foes, like Asuna Yuki, who commands the leading group attempting to escape from the ruthless game. To make matters worse, Sword Art Online is not all fun and games. If they die in Aincrad, they die in real life. Kirito must adapt to this new reality and fight for survival and hopefully break free from his virtual hell. So, Sword Art Online. So what we're going to do in this episode is we're going to review the entire episode as a whole. Not the entire episode, the entire show as a whole. We're going to give you maybe a few quick thoughts on it. We're going to give it a grade, and then we're going to tell you guys whether we think that you should watch it or not.
The answer is yes, you should.
Okay, well, we'll just skip to the end. There you go. Episode over. Everybody should go watch SAO. You're done. You're all anime Wonder Domes, who knows? But so we're gonna start off with this though. I want the audience to kind of know where I'm coming from with this show and my emotions about it and how I feel. So if you've listened to episode 1, you know that Sword Art Online was me and Zach's official introduction into anime. It was the first anime that we watched that we knew what we were watching.
And it has spiraled out of control.
It has spiraled out of control since then. So it's kind of got that place in my heart. But at the same time, Sword Art Online is really what made me and Trey friends. Without Sword Art Online, I still think we would have become friends, Trey. I just think it would have been a very different road. So
It was definitely very defining at that point in time.
it's extremely defining. So we're going to flashback to 2014. I'm watching Sword Art Online. Me and Trey used to work together. And this was probably, the third or fourth time we'd seen each other,
Something
maybe?
like that,
Yeah, because we worked in two separate buildings. We'd seen each other. We were working together. And I was just trying to make small talk because I'm a talker for sure. And I like people. And I liked Trey, even if he didn't like me yet. But
No, not at all.
I know. Yeah, we know. I can be a pretty difficult person to like sometimes.
Yeah,
but
just a little bit.
Just a little. Especially with how much I talk. But so I was just talking to Trey, and I forget exactly what I said before this, but I remember saying, I can't wait to get back home and finish this show I've been watching. It's called Sword Art Online. And so I say that, and so then this man, Trey, he looks up at me, and the whole atmosphere of the room has changed completely. And he looks at me and he says, I love Sword Art Online. Boom. Instant friendship. Done. I mean, we've been friends ever since. We were instantly closer just because of this one show. And honestly, I don't even know why I brought it up to you like that. I mean, I wasn't even big into anime yet. I must have trusted you a lot more or something.
I don't remember what we were talking about, but I do remember that I said that with as much Japanese as I had heard in my life, I should know Japanese by now. And so I think that kind of opened it up to you.
That may have kind of let me know that, hey, this man's a safe space to talk to anime about. And then with that combination of me and Trey becoming friends over Sword Art Online, and me and Zach being introduced to anime via Sword Art Online, it brought the three of us together, and it's created this friendship, and it's probably the reason we started this podcast. I mean, without Sword Art Online, none of what's going on right now may have happened.
Well, and without that conversation between you two, me and Trey may not have even become friends. Because
Probably not.
the way that you introduced us was, hey, Zach, this is Trey. He likes anime. Hey, Trey, this is Zach. He likes anime. And then we just bonded.
Yeah, I mean, and it was all over this one show. So, and that's one of the reasons why we wanted it to be our first review. This show holds a very special place in all of our hearts. But at the same time, we can't let that cloud our judgment.
Sure we can.
I'm totally biased.
We shouldn't let it cloud our judgment. I will rephrase my wording there. We shouldn't let it cloud our judgment, and we should definitely review it as fairly as possible. So, the show as a whole, I think the artwork in this show is very well done. I really enjoy it. I think the artwork in the latest season has been fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's been leagues above.
It's really progressed since
Yep.
the first season.
Yeah, since the past two seasons.
I mean, the first season was beautiful in its own right, but it's definitely come a long way
It
since
was missing
then.
something from
I
the
mean,
first season. Of
You
course,
gotta
I'm
remember, this is
comparing
my
it from
first anime,
2019
so
as well.
Yeah, I mean 2012 to 2019. There's definitely been an uptick in quality anyway. But regardless of that fact, the colors were fantastic. The character designs, I've loved the character designs all the way through. Even season 2, which I didn't like as well as the other two seasons, I still liked the character designs. I still liked the direction they took the characters. They went from lighter tones to darker tones in season 2 because they were trying to stress a little bit more seriousness.
They kind of do that throughout each season. If you've noticed, they kind of change the color tones of each season.
Yeah, they definitely have for sure. And just overall, the artwork in the show, I think is pretty good. I definitely think there's shows out there that just have artwork that is just so much better, but the artwork does not hold this show back.
No, I would say it's simple but elegant.
Yeah, that's probably a good way to describe it. Honestly, it's just good, right? You're not gonna sit there and you're not gonna go, man, I can't watch this show anymore. This anime quality is just terrible. You know, the quality is definitely better in 3 than 1, but you know they've had years to get better, and you know it's become such a big deal now. They've got a bigger budget, and that really all adds everything together. So the artwork, I say gets a pass. I give the artwork a pass. I say it's good. Storyline. The storyline has peaks and valleys for me.
Yeah, it's the same for me. You know, from the beginning, I've loved the direction it was going in, but there's definitely moments in the show where I've questioned everything. It's just certain things come into play, and I'm like, well, this is not the best.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really glad it starts out with a peak. It starts out with an amazing peak, and it really draws you in. And because of that, I feel like it holds you through those valleys a little bit. You're willing to give this show a second chance through the low points because you know those peaks were there, and hopefully they will come back. And I think they do.
They do. They definitely do.
I feel like as far as the overall plot line goes, it always has me guessing. It's not the same plot line. It's not the same storyline. It all just keeps changing. Like you said, those peaks.
Yeah.
You never know what's going to happen next.
You're absolutely right. Because sometimes, you know, they draw you in with different methods. Sometimes they're going to draw you in because of drama. Sometimes they're going to draw you in because of questions that you want answered, like in season 2. You know, season 2, episode 5. I've said it. Not a huge fan of season 2, and I was honestly about to just drop it, and then I saw episode 5, and I went, "Oh, they're gonna do what?" And then I had all these questions in my head, and that honestly carried me through the rest of the season. So they definitely use different methods to hold on to you for sure.
I feel like I need to go back and watch season 2, episode 5 now.
I feel like as soon as you see it, you're gonna know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I kind of forgot exactly what happens in each episode.
Well, maybe we can discuss it in our discussion later, so we don't spoil anything for anybody. But for you all listening out there, if you guys haven't seen Sword Art Online yet, the second you get to season 2, episode 5, you're gonna know what I'm talking about. Pretty sure it's episode 5, might be episode 6, but we're gonna say it's episode 5 anyway. So yeah, storyline, peaks and valleys, man, peaks and valleys. Just moments where you're loving it, and other moments where you're kind of shrugging your shoulders, going, they could have done more.
That's in every anime. I mean, you have the great points, and then you got sort of just the stuff that floats you along to that next great point.
Yeah, I know, but there's just something about the way those valleys
Are introduced.
are introduced that I don't thoroughly.
Oh, we'll talk about that.
Yeah, I don't thoroughly enjoy that a whole lot. The characters in this show. I think the characters in this show are a lot of fun. And that's a big deal for me because just like you guys and probably just like a lot of our listeners out there, anime is a hobby. And if I'm not having fun, why am I doing it? So the characters for me are fun to watch. You've got more serious characters who, you know, kind of brood and just kind of lope around. But they're balanced out by the bubbly characters. And then you've got, you know, your sillier characters who are, you know, balanced out more by that serious character. All the characters just kind of balance each other, which makes it a really fun environment and makes it a lot of fun to watch.
Well, what I like about it is, you know, going off of the show synopsis, you know, we know that it's, you know, a very dark environment, you know, and the characters don't translate necessarily just into that. I mean, you have your darker points, but, you know, the characters, you know, like you were saying, some of them come across very bubbly, and it's very lighthearted. You know, the show has its serious moments, but then it has its humor as well, and then it, you know, just have moments that just, I don't know, it's hard to explain. It just captures your attention, and you fall in love with these people.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. And if a show can carry you, you know, one of two ways. It can carry you with the plot, or it can carry you with the characters. And while the characters are fun to watch, I feel like this show carries you with the plot.
Definitely, yeah, I would agree on that one. I'm not a huge fan of some of the characters in this show, but
And they don't really grow. They don't grow.
Some of
they
them
don't
shrink.
Yeah, some of them do shrink drastically. but the characters don't grow in any significant manner. I mean, they do a little bit, but not enough to matter. I mean, and that kind of irks me a little bit, honestly, whenever you really think about it. The characters, especially Kirito. Kirito has stayed the same through 3 seasons. He hasn't really changed. He's changed a little bit. Just a tad. You know, in season 1, he's a total loner, doesn't want to have anything to do with anybody. And by season 3, he's got friends, he's working with people. That's great. But that's all I get after 3 seasons. I mean, come on, really, there's no real character development. All the development is plot-based.
Yeah.
And for some people, that's going to be a total turnoff. Some people love shows where the characters really pull you through the show and could really kind of care less about plot. Me personally, I'm a plot guy. I will give iffy characters a pass if the plot draws me in.
I need a balance. I definitely need a balance. I mean, if the characters are really good but the plot is awful, I mean, the character's really good, but I'm going to stop right there. If I don't see the story going in a meaningful way that captures my attention episode after episode, I mean, I know that there's going to be valleys, but, you know, I'm probably not going to, you know, watch it anymore. And it's the same on the inverse. You know, if it's the opposite, it's the same way. I need a pretty decent balance to make it through.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a point of no return on both sides. You know, I mean, if your plot is trash, it doesn't matter how good your characters are. It doesn't matter how good your plot is. If your characters aren't relatable at all, they're not fun to watch. They're dead. They're soulless. I mean, there's definitely a point of no return.
And we have some anime like that.
We do, and I either don't finish them, or it's literally one of those things where it's like, I've just invested so much time, I'm just going to finish this to say I did.
And then you're disappointed.
A train wreck anime, exactly. But Sword Art Online's not like that. The characters are fun to watch, even though the plot line is what carries it. That's kind of the basis of the show. If you guys are looking, if you guys out there, if you guys haven't seen Sword Art Online and you're looking for a show that's got decent action, fun characters,
good artwork,
the music's good.
Yeah, the music score. To me, a music score makes a lot in an anime as well.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't have good music, then you can ruin a lot of the big moments in a show if you don't have that good score going. And the score is good in the show. It's very well done. And so if you're looking for all of that, if you're looking for something just in general, honestly, fun to watch, this could be the show for you.
So, Cole, what would your score for this be?
So overall, my score with everything I said. So we should probably discuss our scoring system real quick, so everybody kind of understands what we're doing. So what we do is we are going to we're not really giving a score; we're giving a grade. You know, we're the otakus, we're the teachers, we're the whatever. We're going to grade these things, and so our grading system goes from A to F. A being fantastic, B being good. You know,
great.
It's a good show. C, we're on the fence. We could be swayed one way or another. D, do not recommend, do not watch. F, failed.
Comfort.
Oh God, we won't talk about comfort right now at all. But yes, definitely F, failed, train wreck, did not finish because I had to, just failed. Then we have a special ranking, and that ranking is S.
Comfort.
No, it can't be so bad that it's that good. But S is for the anime that is just phenomenal. Anime that we think changes the game. So that's going to be a super rare score. We may never even get to one. Who knows? But your regular grading is A, B, C, D, and F. Before I go any farther, this is a grading that we're testing out. If you like this grading method, make sure to go to Twitter and Instagram. Follow us at Otaku's 2 cents. Let us know that you like it. If you don't like this grading system, do the exact same thing. Go to Twitter and Instagram at Otaku's 2 cents and let us know that you don't like it. We're not against changing this grading system. It's an idea we had. It's something we want to test out, but we need your all's feedback because we want to know what you guys want to hear with our grading system. So, with all that said, the grade that I would give this show is a B. I think it's a good show. I think the plot is good, the characters are good, the artwork is good. Everything about it is good. There's nothing great about this show, really. But
nothing exceptional, yeah.
Yeah, nothing exceptional, nothing great. Nothing in this show deserves an A. But there's so many things about this show that deserve a B. That's what I'm going to give it. I'm going to give it a B. Recommended. Go watch whenever you got some free time. What about you, Trey?
I think I would also give it a B because, like Cole said here, it is just a very solid, good show in all these aspects that we have went over. The artwork, the plot story, the characters. It's all just a good, solid B.
Yeah, I'm going to have to say the same. It's a B for me.
So we got 3 Bs. The 3 boys. 3 B boys right here. So that means our overall Otaku grade is a B. Which means that the 3 of us think when you got some free time, add it to your watch list. You know, if it's a B, add it to your watch list. Get to it when you can. We think you'll enjoy it. We think you'll have a good time. And so that is it for our spoiler-free review. If you haven't seen the show and you don't want to hear any spoilers, you know, kick off right now. Thank you so much for joining us. We really enjoyed having you. But everybody else who's ready for spoilers, stick around for our deeper discussion. So, for our discussion, we're going to start out with Season 1, Arc 1, Ironcrad.
Missed opportunities.
Missed opportunities, but still arguably the best arc of the show.
No, it was my favorite arc, but the main problem that I had with it is just how fast it moved.
Yeah, the pace on this one was just a little bit too speedy.
Yeah, I mean, the entire first arc, you know, Ironcrad is in the first 12 to 13 episodes. Yeah. You know, there's such significant time skips in there from episode 1 to episode 2. I think there's, about a month in between there that you go through. And then throughout the entire thing, you move through 2 years. And so and I will say one thing that I've enjoyed is how they keep coming back to this section, but I don't know, there's just so many things that I would have liked to have seen in that.
So I knew you guys were going to say that, you know, because obviously I have the document here in front of me, and I do agree. Ironcrad is the arc of missed opportunity, but just in case anybody didn't know, there is a reason for this. It's not because of lazy writing or anything like that. It's because Sword Art Online started out... I can't remember who the author is, and I'm probably going to get killed on the internet for not knowing. But I can't remember who the author is. But it started out as them entering a short story contest. And that short story that he was writing, Sword Art Online, he said it kind of got a life of its own. And, you know, he started writing more, and it became a light novel. And so that very first light novel, that one book, is the main story of Ironcrad. It was written for that. Well, it gained a whole lot of popularity, so they went back and filled in those gaps. You know, we get the story of Lisbeth, Silica, you know, those stories that we have throughout the first season were thrown in by the second book. So part of the reason it feels rushed is unfortunately because of source material, which, you know, doesn't give it really an excuse. They could have still done more with it, but, you know, they were kind of taking a little bit of a chance with this anime, so they stuck with the source material, and that's kind of why it's so fast paced. But Ironcrad is definitely so fast paced. Like you said, 13 episodes out of 25, and then
they shoved 2 arcs in one season. I mean,
they did shove 2 arcs in one season. But Ironcrad, I truly did enjoy. I loved the stakes. I loved the stakes of Ironcrad. You know, if you die in the game, you're done. You're dead. You're gone. And that's really what drew me in. There was real stakes in this show. You know, lives were at stake here. It wasn't just some game anymore.
And I think that's something that, even though I love the show through all of its seasons, it's something that I feel like it lost. It lost its sense of urgency.
Well, you can't beat that first season, the first arc. I mean,
yeah,
no, and I understand that, but you know,
I feel like they're getting some of that back with season 3.
Yeah, that's true.
They're getting some of that urgency back. They're getting some of those real stakes back. But I'll agree with you, they definitely lost it in season 2. And the second half of season 1, it was just gone. Like we were talking about earlier in the review, you've got those peaks and you got those valleys. And I feel like the second half of season 1 and the majority of season 2 is a valley.
Nah, that's a punitive.
It is.
I like season 2.
Season 2 is okay.
It's good. You just gave it a B. It's good.
I gave the overall show a B. I did not give season 2 a B. If I was going to give season 2 a rating, it would be a C. I'm on the fence, right? I mean, it's okay. It's an alright season. But season 1 with Aincrad is just honestly the best. Especially like the parts like, you know, the moonlit black cats.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I mean that was something for me. It really gave. I mean, we all knew that hey, you die in the game, you die in real life. But whenever he meets those group of people, and boom, they're all gone.
That was just a 1 episode thing, wasn't it?
I believe so.
And see, that's the thing. Even though I had problems with how fast the show moved, you know, all these side stories, by the time the first 12, 13 episodes, whatever it was done, like, I felt like I'd been watching the show for a super long amount of time.
Yeah, I agree.
And with that episode there, I mean, yeah, you know how it ends, but I don't know, it was just a super deep part of the show, and it just adds to all the crap that he's been through.
Yeah, he's been through a lot, for sure. But, so here's the thing. I've talked a lot about how Sword Art Online was my first introduction to anime. It got me into anime. Me and Trey are friends. Me and you are friends. We're all friends, all great, all because of Sword Art Online. But Sword Art Online also almost completely turned me off to anime.
That character did for me, but yeah.
But that's all because of season 1, section number 2 with Alfhem Online. What we've all got to remember here, what you, the listener, got to remember, what you guys at the table got to remember, this was my first anime. I didn't know what I was getting myself into whenever Sugu started confessing her love for Kirito.
Okay, 2 parts of season 1. Okay, forgot about that.
How could you forget about that?
I blocked it out of my memory.
Because I texted you about that. I remember pausing this show and going, hey, dude, I just want to clarify. Sugu, Kirito, totally related, right? And all you sent back was, yeah, ...
Had I already watched it at
You'd already seen it by that point. And so, it was my first anime. I didn't know what I was getting myself into, and I was like, what is happening to this show? What am I watching? I came right off that peak, and for me, dumped straight into a valley. For other people who have been watching anime for a while, you know, they know how some of these stories go. It could definitely be different. But for me, that was a big deal. And it almost turned me off to anime in general.
Okay, so yeah. With that being said, that was one part of the season, not the first part that almost turned me off.
No, I agree.
But that was definitely a main selling point for me to stop.
Oh,
but
yeah, because we forgot about the part in Aincrad with the cabin.
Yeah.
Why don't you lead us into that segment?
Yeah, no, the first thing that almost just made me stop watching, and I can't explain why. Some of you may love it, and if you do, great, you're wrong, but that's okay.
They can love it.
Yes.
They can love it. Because some people do.
No.
Some people genuinely love that part of the show, and I can see where they're coming from, but it just didn't do anything for me.
Well, it just sort of messed with the flow to me, but what we're talking about is the character Yui. Terrible character, great navigation tool, later on. But
it's later on. Useless at first.
Yes, useless. Completely useless. The way that she's introduced, they find her in the middle of the woods when Kirito and Asuna are, I guess, honeymooning in the cabin. And they come across this girl, and they just jump straight into taking care of her, which I can admire. You find somebody, you want to help them out, protect them. But they spend approximately a day trying to find this person's, family, and they're like, oh, no, you can just be our daughter. It's okay. We don't need to find your family. It doesn't matter. You're ours now. And then
I wish you guys could see the defeat in Zach's eyes right now.
I don't know. I just don't like this character. Well, at this point, anyways, I still don't like the character, but she's got some redeeming qualities, such as her GPS system. But it's just, I don't know. It just turned me off. It's just the fact that they were so quick to be like, oh yeah, we're your mom and your dad. You're ours forever. It's okay.
Well, yeah, but they're teenagers, and
I know.
Exactly. if I was some teenager stuck in a death game, I'd be like, oh, cool kid in the forest, you're on your own. Sucks for you. But that's just me personally.
Here's what I would have done. I would have helped the girl. I would have taken her back to the cabin, figured out where she was from. Obviously, she had no memory at this point in time, or did she? But they take her back. Or I would have taken her back, dropped her off at this little orphanage or whatever it is that we see later on, and been like, here you go, here's your new family. Off I go.
Yeah, but that may be just because we're bad people. Who knows? We don't want to linger on this part for too long. We don't really care for it. If you do, fantastic. We're super happy for you. Everybody's entitled to like what they like and not like what they don't like. But that whole section didn't do anything for me. The section with Sugu confessing her love really just about turned me off. And then that whole thing ends and we transfer into season 2, which I didn't really care for a whole lot. I mean, the darker tone was nice.
Change of pace was nice.
Yeah, it's a nice little change of pace. We got some real character development out of that one with Sinon, how you pronounce her name?
Yeah. Of course, they probably had a chance to actually write.
Yeah, that's true.
Instead of rushing through. So
she had some real development. She had some real redeeming qualities, and I genuinely do like her character.
See, I like her character, and personally, I liked the entire season. The only thing I really didn't care for was the character design of Kirito in that specific game.
The long hair?
Yeah.
The female sort of body-esque type thing?
Yeah, and I know it was supposed to be this like ultra rare avatar, but I couldn't get into it. But as far as the actual season, I love the idea behind it. The urgency wasn't as great as it was in the first season.
It was there a little bit.
But there still was some, because these characters were mysteriously dying, and they were all top characters in the game.
Yeah, dying in the game as well.
Yeah, and as we know, Kirito is this bad A of a gamer, so what's going to happen to him in the future?
He definitely gets targeted. I mean, you see, at that point, I feel like they were struggling a little bit to find some stakes, and that's the thing. Like, one thing we've realized, especially in season 2, all the stakes still tie back to Aincrad. Yeah. Right? Season 2, episode 5, pretty sure it's 5, could be 6. 90% sure it's 5. We learn that what was that character? Death Gun. We learned that Death Gun is a part of Laughing Coughing.
Yep.
Yeah.
At that point, boom, I was hooked. Season 2, I was ready for the roller coaster that it was, and I did. I thought it was okay. Not as good as season 1, but I thought it was okay. I did like the darker tones and everything, and I liked all the questions that were asked, but at the same time, I felt like the resolution, it left me wanting, honestly. It's just like all of a sudden, he suddenly remembers who Death Gun is. After all this time not being able to remember, and I understand what they were getting at. He had to fight him, right? He had to fight him to truly remember who he was, because that's how Kirito connects with people. Yeah. But I don't know. It left me wanting a little bit.
I thought it was a very good season, but as far as complete lack of all the other characters they had brought up in season 1,
that's
just
true.
Kirito.
That's true. They did drop all those characters really, really quick. So after season 2, when do we get Caliber and Mother's Rosaria?
That's the end of season 2.
Is it the end of season 2?
It goes from Gun Gale, and then it goes back to Alfheim.
Okay.
And then...
So I want to backtrack on what I said. The ending of Gun Gale, not the ending of season 2, left me wanting. The ending of Gun Gale. Caliber was okay. Caliber was fun, right? Caliber was all right. Mother's Rosaria, I truly enjoyed. I loved the character Yuki. I loved her backstory.
It gave you the feels, didn't
It did give me the feels. I just loved everything about Mother's Rosaria. I liked how it was centered around Asuna instead of Kirito. Kirito takes a backseat in Mother's Rosaria. We get to see more of Asuna. We get to see more of her character. We get to see how strong she really is because she's an extremely strong character. I mean, she's on par with Kirito. Honestly, easily. She really is. She's on par with him if she wants to be. Sword skill wise. Mm-hmm. Maybe not level wise, but sword skill wise, she's just as good. We get to see more of that. We get to see her connection with Yuki. We get to see that bond there. And then at the end, whenever, Yuki's illness finally, takes her from the world, and everybody in Alfheim. Thank you, gentlemen, so much. Everybody in Alfheim, comes in to see her off. That was good for me. I got the feels from that.
You got emotionally attached on that one?
I got emotionally attached on that one. I'm beginning to see a pattern in anime that I like, in anime that I don't.
Yeah.
Just right now. If I get emotionally attached, I'm good. I'm emotional.
Yeah. I remember you texting me right after you watched that episode.
Okay, because what happened on that one? Let me tell you something. I was invested. I was attached. I didn't even see what episode number it was, and then all of a sudden, they're all out of the park. Zach remembers. Yeah. They were all at the park, and they're like, "Hey, let's take a picture." I was like, "Oh yeah, group picture." And then they take a picture, and it says Sword Art Online 2. And then credits, and I'm like, oh my gosh.
Didn't we get shorted an episode that season?
I think so, because I think it was 24. Because I do remember texting you raving. I was like, what? It's over? What even? I was so devastated because I was so emotionally attached. At this point, I was really getting back in, and then it's done. And so that really did it for me.
And then we had to wait more.
Yeah, then we had to wait a long time.
How long had it been?
Because I think SAO was 2012. Yep. Season 2 was 2014.
Yeah, because we had just watched season 1, and not long after that, season 2 came out.
Yeah, so it was already out. I can't remember, but 2014 was season 2. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
So season 3 was 2018.
Yeah.
4 years we waited for season 3. But I've got to say, it was worth it so far.
I'm okay with waiting 4 years for them to build the story and actually take their time to do something nice with the anime.
I mean, yeah, because so far, season 3, there's really not a whole lot that I have to complain about. Like we talked about in the review, season 3's animation quality it's fantastic.
But see, honestly, season 3, I may like more than the first arc of season 1.
I'm on the fence myself.
I mean, the fight scenes leave me a little wanting, but as far as everything else goes, like, love the artwork, love the characters. The only thing that I truly have a problem with, and it doesn't affect the show negatively in my eyes, but I love the old crew, Asuna and Klein, and all of them, and you don't really get to see much of them. I mean, you see cameos of Asuna, as Kirito lays in this coma, but you see bits and pieces of her, but you don't see any of the others. So that's my only negative point, especially after seeing how fantastic of a player Asuna was, in the Mother's Rosario arc. And, I don't know, it just...
Yeah, I'm definitely missing the old crew too, but I've got to say, they have done, in my eyes anyway, they've done a pretty good job of connecting me to the new characters.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, I'm emotionally invested in this point. Now, that first episode was a roller coaster, though.
Yeah, I didn't know what to think.
Because it starts off and it's in left field. Of course, it all comes back around, but we're in left field, and I spent the longest time trying to figure out, how does this connect?
Yeah, it takes a while before it actually connects, but it connects.
But, I mean, whenever we lost Yu-Gi-Oh, I hated that. I wasn't as upset with it as I was with Yuki, but they did a good enough job connecting me to Yu-Gi-Oh that I was definitely upset whenever he died, And I was even more upset because I realized that he's never going to be able to keep his promise to that redheaded girl. Cannot remember her name for the life of me.
Well, thanks for that.
Yeah, you're welcome. You can be sad with me now. He's not going to keep her promise to her. She's going to wait for him to come back. And as of right now, I mean, season 3 has a new section coming out. Maybe things will change.
Probably not.
Probably not. As of right now, he's not coming back. And that sucks.
And that reminds me of the episode of season 3 where he saves her.
Yes, that was interesting because it came on and it's got that warning on there, and I was like,
yeah.
"Oh,
yeah." I noticed that first thing, that warning came up. I was like, "This hasn't been on any other episode, has it?"
Yeah, that episode where essentially, there I can't remember any of the side characters' name in season 3.
They're not important.
No, they're definitely not important now because they're gone. But I mean, essentially, whenever they were trying to rape those 2 girls, I mean. Like,
it was getting pretty graphic, like it warned.
I mean, I was on the edge of my seat, and I was like, somebody
do something.
Somebody do something. That was rough for me. That was rough for me to watch.
They did a really good job pushing that out and lengthening that to where you're just on the edge of your seat for a good little while, waiting for somebody to come in. Like,
anybody to help them out. Anybody at all. I wanted that to end so badly, and whenever he gets his arms chopped off, I was so happy.
Yeah,
I was glad that he got what he deserved for that, because that was just ridiculous.
Yep, definitely.
Speaking of getting his arms chopped off, though, Zach mentioned it a little bit earlier, and I wanted to chime in on this. The fight scenes in season 3, they definitely leave me wanting a little bit. They're so short, and in some of them, nothing really happens at all. But the animation is so good. Whenever Kirito fights those goblins, that was beautiful.
Yeah.
That was absolutely beautiful. We don't get that again. Even whenever they're fighting the administrator, you don't get that again. I mean, everything's just so short, so quick. I mean, the animation of it all is just gorgeous, but there's no sustenance to it.
Well, and one of the things that bothered me, and this is a very specific fight scene, but you know, when we see their ultimate sword skill abilities, you know, and so Yujiro uses his, you know, it's this big, beautiful ice blue rose, you know. I mean, it's so intricate, so beautiful, and so powerful. And then the episode cuts off right as Kirito's getting ready to use his, and he fires it off right at the beginning. You're like, well, that was useless. I mean.
And they drew you into next week. That's a
I know, but
they didn't do that.
I was on the edge.
Okay,
I was
definitely
there. I was definitely back. I think we even watched that during. Did we watch that during Anime Weekend?
Did.
We watched it during Anime Weekend. I think we're all a little disappointed. We were all so excited. We were like, "Oh my gosh, thank goodness we get to see what happens next." And it was that.
Yeah.
I have to disagree on the fight scenes not having any substance. I think some of the best fight scenes in the anime is in season 3.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, some of them are like the goblins, fantastic, but other than that, I just don't really get a whole. I mean, whenever they fought Alice, that was good. I enjoyed that. That was a good fight scene, but other than that, it just didn't really have anything for me.
What about? You said the goblins, yeah.
You know, the best fight scene of the seasons. Probably the best fight scene of the show so far, honestly.
You always have it for the underdog, though, the little one beating the big guy.
I mean, you do. Just like I'm talking purely on the foundation that it's engaging. Just the movements that they do, how long the fight lasts. I like fight scenes. I know every fight scene can't be like this, but I like fight scenes that, you know, get me on the edge of my seat. I'm waiting to see what move happens next.
Clenching your fist.
Nobody really had. Now, I mean, Kirito obviously had the upper hand against the littler goblins. Whenever he went to fight that goblin chief, he got hurt. Yujiro got hurt. Like he was a legitimate threat to them, and I was just waiting, heart pounding, ready to see what happened next. I just love stuff like that. So,
what do you think about how Kirito got there in the first place? Kind of skipped over that a little bit. Where in the real world he got stabbed.
Yeah. That was.
Well, that's kind of built on each season. It always rolls back to the laughing coffin.
So far it has,
yeah. And I mean, the laughing coffin was dangerous season 1, they're still dangerous now.
Yep, season 1, season 2, and season 3.
I mean, I think it just goes. I really like that about this show too. It really shows you how deep those roots have gone of their time being stuck in Aincrad. They haven't been able to readjust.
Nope.
Keeps
coming back at them.
Keeps coming back. Yep, absolutely. So overall, just season 3 is really great. I think season 3 so far might be like Zach said, my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And when I first started season 3, I was definitely this is my favorite so far. It's yet to be finished, so I can't say that for sure.
Well, I just like the very idea of it. So I mean, from the first episode, we see, of course, this is before Kirito gets stabbed, but they're trying to implement a soul element into the game itself, and so Kirito has all of these false memories of being a kid and growing up in this game, and then he actually gets stabbed, and of course at this point he remembers who he is. Did it ever explain why everybody forgot about him?
Oh, we had this conversation before,
because
but I don't remember what my answer was.
Because later on, Yujiro remembers.
Yeah, but later on in the season, Kirito even asks him, "Hey, why did you say those things?" And he goes, "I really don't know."
Yeah.
So
Do you think it's the people on the outside in IRL that's controlling it, or the administrator?
I really don't know. But you know who might know? The people listening. If you think that you know why everybody forgot about Kirito, and then Yujiro remembered him there for a little bit, let us know on Twitter and Instagram. That way we can know, and we can become even closer to becoming the awesome otakus that we want to be. But with that, I believe it's probably time that we sign off. I think people have probably listened to us ramble on enough. If you've made it this far into the podcast, from the bottom of our heart, we just want to say thank you for giving us the opportunity to spend the last 45 minutes, an hour, however long it's been, in your life, while you're cooking, cleaning, driving your car, sitting at work, before you go to sleep, just whatever you're doing. Thank you so much for allowing us to be a part of that. And please let us continue to be a part of that. We're hoping to grow. We're hoping to get better at what we're doing, hoping to get better at hosting.
And give us feedback on what we're doing.
Give us feedback. Hit us up on social media. Let us know what you like. Let us know what you don't like. If you think Cole needs to shut up and that Trey needs to talk more, that's fine. But you got to let us know. So with that, this is Otaku's 2 cents. This is Cole.
This is Zach.
And this is Trey.
And this was our 2 cents on Sword Art Online.
Now go watch some anime.